Something like this.
Alright.
Is this well?
Yes, we have transitioned. You are ready to go.
Should I stop screen share?
Yes. No, you can screen share. Keep on. You're live.
Am I
Go
live
ahead.
now? Okay. Hello everyone, it's Firesplitter here, and today we are going to run the fantastic game Hello Kitty Cruisers. Version 1.01. But before we start, I need to know which character I am gonna play, as that was part of the incentive.
I have it here, and the winner is Hello Kitty.
Okay, then we're gonna play as Hello Kitty. So I am very soon gonna start. I'm gonna do a little countdown before we start. We are starting when we press confirm on this next screen here. 3, 2, 1, go! So yeah, hello and welcome everyone. Today we're gonna run the fantastic game Hello Kitty Cruisers, and we are playing version 1.01, which is an update they pretty recently released. This game actually fixed some issues. The problem is, however, that very few issues were actually fixed. Instead, they added a couple of new very interesting features to the game, to say the least. The most significant one we have already seen, which is that whenever we touch a wall with the car, the camera goes all weird. And that is because they tried to fix the fact that when we are crashing into walls, we are not losing speed. They managed to do that, but they did so by some weird way which gave you vertical speed or something, so the camera is getting weird because the game thinks you're going up and down, just like that. So nowadays, before the main strat of this game was always to always touch the walls. Now with the new change, we are no longer allowed to do that, which has changed routing a little bit. There are some route changes just due to that. And let us talk about the most annoying mechanic of this game, which is the clocks that we have seen twice so far. The clocks are an item that works sort of like lightning from Mario Kart, only that it is like 10 times as likely to happen. And that is due to a mix of people being able to get it from 4th place and below, but also another glitch I am gonna explain a little bit about, and that is called item duplication. It has to do with the fact that when you have an item in this game, the next item box can always contain that item. There are some other circumstances about it. What is important to know is that you can get any item in any position with that glitch, which is very useful for the player whenever you can get triple boosts in a row. The problem with the glitch is that it's very inconsistent. And the second problem with it is that it counts for the AI as well, which means that if someone gets a clock, they are far more likely to get more clocks. So once you see one clock in this game, you are very likely to see more of them in the same run, which is very annoying. So yeah, this is the first course where we are seeing the boating controls. The boating controls in this game are kinda interesting. The boating controls are pretty horrible, but once you get used to this game, they have their charm. They are adding a little bit of difficulty to the game, and you have to adapt your routing very accordingly to how the boating controls works. The problem with the boat is that the turning capacities of the boat is very not good. I'm basically turning as much as I can there, and you can see that I can't even stay remotely close to the walls. To negate that, we sometimes use the drift button to basically get a little bit of extra turning. And on some levels this is gonna play a very huge part in the future, and this is the first airplane stage. The airplane is probably the verticals that works the best after the update. The airplane is very good actually. It's pretty solid, it feels very responsive. The only problem is one glitch that can happen with controls when you are playing with the airplane that causes it to... It feels weighted. It's very hard to explain. It's something you have to play to understand how it feels like. But it's kind of like there is a weight on one of the wings of the plane, so the controls get a little messed up. It's pretty easy to adapt to on the spot though, and sometimes it can be very useful to have that glitch activated to take even sharper turns than normally allowed. It seems to have to do with the clocks to do if it happens or not, depending on which position you are in when the clock activates and deactivates, something like that. There are many glitches in this game that are tied to the clock, because of how the clock calculates your speed. So here we go, into the finish line, and into the first winter stage. And the only car winter stage. The car winter stage is actually really interesting. Because just like the stage is suggesting, the floor is actually a little slippery. Especially the icy parts, which is pretty nice. Oh, there we go, we touched the walls again. I am so used to 1.00 where we can actually touch the walls. And are supposed to touch the walls. They released the update about half a year ago, and ever since I have not really ran this game a lot because most of the records, old records, are pretty much unbeatable at this point because you can no longer do the wall strats that was used before to save a lot of time. They have been in a waiting though to do a category separation, but we decided to wait a while to do so because no one thought that this patch would be up for long because of how horrible it is. But it has stayed up for some reason. Every single thing they tried to fix with this patch somehow got worse. And the biggest flaws of the game, the actual big and horrible flaws, were not fixed. For example, there was an infamous game crash, and that one is still here. I thought for the longest time it wasn't here, but then yesterday I started to see it pop up again. And then there is the item glitch, and then there is some menuing glitches I hope we won't see. There are glitches that makes so the menu is getting pretty messy. But we'll hope we don't see that. We'll hope we don't see that. What happens basically when that happens is that the game thinks that we have progressed through a menu we haven't progressed through yet, which causes the game to not allow you to continue before you press the B button to go back. It's a pretty interesting glitch that has, in some categories, is actually pretty devastating. Thankfully, we are not running adventure where that glitch can actually delete some of your progress if it happens during unfortunate circumstances. But even here it loses like 4 or 5 seconds whenever it happens. It's not huge, but it's very annoying when you're trying to run the game. There we go, guys, see if we can get item duplication. No, we couldn't. One important thing we try to go for the item duplication is that you don't pick up any box between the box you picked up last time and the next box. If that happens, I think the probability of getting it is close to 0. Oh no! Oh, there's the crash glitch I talked about before. This is gonna be a huge time loss, but it was accounted for. It's accounted for. I even reset the game before the run to decrease the chance of that happening.
Oh no.
Oh yes, it happened. It only happens in that course though, so we don't have to worry about that happening in the future unless it happens again on that course. But I have never seen it happen twice in a row. It's good. It's pretty quick to get back into the run though, because we are playing on because the progress is saved between each tour. It would be very problematic if this happened on any other course in the first tour of, or first course of a tour. There is nothing really we can do to try to prevent that glitch from happening, from my understanding. All we can do is hope that this course doesn't crash. I have no idea why. What do you say?
No, I was just asking, like, do we have time to plug some incentives here?
Oh yeah, we definitely do have time to read some donations or incentives.
All right, so don't forget we have 2 other incentives open for the marathon for the whole weekend. We have Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction character choice. Right now, Buttercup is in the lead by $20, but you can also donate and make sure that someone plays as Bubbles or Blossom. That run is coming up shortly. Not the next run, but the run after that. And also tomorrow, you can choose for Luigi's Mansion 3, the language choice. There is French, English, Spanish, Italian, and Dutch. And right now, French is in the lead by $5. So please get those donations in if you would like to meet some of those incentives. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, as I said before, I was hoping, and I thought for about several weeks that this glitch was removed from the game that caused this game to crash. But apparently it's still in the game, as you could all clearly see. It's far less likely to happen though since patch 1.01, so it is a little better. Before it was like a 33% chance every time you play this course in a run that it would happen basically. So it's very much better, but it is still a problem that the glitch exists. Thankfully it happened on the second lap though. The worst can happen is that it happens right when you finish the finish line here. That means it's a time loss of about 2.5 minutes. It's all accounted for, it's all accounted for. So here we go. Time for the next voting stage. This is one of 3 stages probably, but 2 of the more significant ones where we are gonna see where we can potentially see some very interesting AI interaction with the map. If you keep track on the little character map down there, you will see that the AI might do some interesting stuff. What can happen, and very likely to happen, it might not happen this race as it hasn't happened yet, is that the AI is gonna go to the top right corner, right there where I look at with Kitty now, and get stuck there, because they are gonna think that the route is going through that wall. So the AI will get stuck there. Yeah, you see it now, Some AIs are pretty much getting up there. Because they think they can go through there to progress through the course, even though they can't. It can actually happen for the player too if you are using the rainbow, which works like the bullet wheel in this game, which gives you the same poor routing. Sometimes it can even force your character to go around in circles, because the AI routing in this game is so horrible. My record of this course is seeing 6 characters getting stuck in that wall. On another course we'll see later though, I have seen all AIs getting stuck against that wall. And here comes one of the more interesting courses from a mechanical standpoint. We are gonna go through a little tunnel here, and there is something in the middle of this tunnel that pulls us towards the center. We go through the second part of the tunnel now, and we're gonna get pulled in the other direction. Thankfully we got clocked here before we enter the tunnel. If we get clocked inside the tunnel, it gets very nasty, as we are gonna get pulled into that wall, which is very nasty considering 1.01's wall fix. That means that we are pretty much gonna be stuck in that wall as the wall tries to pull us towards it and adds to our vertical speed. We are gonna get stuck there, converts our speed to vertical speeds basically, so we're gonna get stuck there. It's probably one of the nastiest part of the run to get clocked at, so we are really hope we won't get clocked while we are inside that specific tunnel. The first section is not that bad, as you can enter it very far to the right, so you are having some margin to get through, but you can't really do so on the second tunnel there.
So tell me, how did you first get into speedrunning this game?
Oh, I was just looking for something silly to speedrun. I was specifically looking for something bad to speedrun, because I was like, hey, I want to play a bad speed game. I was like, which game looks just bad enough but still looks interestingly bad? And then this game like popped up because it was like super cute and it was like... I mean, it's Hello Kitty, everyone knows who Hello Kitty is. And then I saw reviews, so it was like, this game is pretty not good. So I was like, this can actually be an interesting run to practice. And there was also a lot of interesting categories. It was an adventure mode, which I was severely disappointed with in my casual playthrough. But in the speedrunning, it's pretty cool. The adventure category is probably the most skill-intensive category of this game, and actually resembles something that can be called a real speedrun.
I actually was going to ask you about that because I'm seeing here on speedrun.com, first off, GG's on having the world record in every category for this game.
Thanks.
And second off, like when it comes to, you know, all tours, all items, and 100%, how do those categories like differ from each other, and like which one is your favorite to run?
Oh, my favorite run is definitely 100% when we get to do both the adventure and the tours. And then it is when you are being allowed with items, because I think the items add so much to this game in terms of its chaotic nature. Because it becomes such a huge RNG check every single stage. We've actually been pretty lucky now from an RNG department, except for the fact the game crashed. Except for game crash, we have actually had very, very good RNG so far. But it adds to it, and the adventure mode is extremely fun because it's so skill intensive. It has some really intense courses where you actually have to do a lot of interesting maneuvers, which makes it really fun. It's very fun to start off with the tour, see what time you get, and then go into adventure and try to pull out a good time of what you were given in the tours. So here we go. We got a rainbow here. We are probably not gonna use this rainbow in this course. This course is one of the scariest courses of the entire run. The reason why we are not gonna use the rainbow here, even though it gives us a speed boost, is because of what I mentioned before about the poor routing. And the poor routing is really unfortunate on this course, where we are having to worry about those potatoes floating around. The problem with that is that it's very easy to get hit by those, and the rainbow, unlike the bullet bill, does not give us invulnerability, so we can still actually be touched by things and hurt. And it isn't that much of a time save either to use the rainbow, because even though it gives us a speed increase, due to the poor routing of the AI, it basically negates any time gain we would gain by the speed gain in most stages. There are some stages that are an exception, but this stage isn't one of them. It's still often good to use on specific parts of some stages though, because it gives you a little bit of boost, but normally we don't use it. Especially not on courses like this. Another reason why I don't really like using it on this course is because of something I call the potato cycles that are very important to keep track on. It's very important for me to know about where the potatoes are gonna be whenever I get to them, so I can adapt my routes accordingly. A problem here is that we have gotten clocked a lot of times though, which is upsetting my inner potato cycles. But I think we should be fine. What we want to happen is basically that we can take the short turn. We are not gonna... Maybe we can? Yeah, we can just get through. We can actually use the rainbow here because we are so close to finish line, so the game can't really mess us up by using it. As you can see, it gives us a lot of speed boost, but it removes our control over our character and forces us to use the AI routing, which is really not good unless you are in a specific part where you are basically going straight forward for quite a bit. And here comes one of the longest courses of the entire game. There is a two circle boost here. You are basically... You want to take the innermost one, but it's very rough to pull off. It's very rough to pull off it consistently. And the time save for doing so is like a half second. So I am never going for it in a speedrun setting or in a marathon setting, because if I do fail it, it's basically a 3 to 4 second time loss. In a marathon setting, I do much rather take the free time over a risky maneuver. The problem why it's so risky to do it is because what I mentioned before about the boating controls. The boating controls are really fickle. And you are gonna have to drift a lot to get into that one. And it's very, very precise when you have to drift to even have a shot at it. I have managed to do it in practice pretty consistently, but not consistently enough where it's gonna save me time on average in a marathon run to do so. If I am going for a fantastic run, I will definitely go for the trick, but I am not gonna do it when I have one shot to get the run going.
Is there any like speed tech that isn't very obvious to the viewers that you're doing right now?
Oh, not that I'm doing. All speed tech in this game is extremely high risk and something I'm really only doing when I know I have time to lose. I definitely have no time to lose to that now after the game crash. There is one speed track with damage boost this game that is you put up a cone after one of those speed boosts at a certain distance. You put up a cone and then you drive into that cone. That gives you extra speed for a longer duration of time. The problem is that you are getting slippery, so you are basically losing control of your car by doing that. So it can get nasty consequences in case the speed boost is maintained for too long. You basically have to be thrown into a wall and get stuck in a wall for a while. That is like the biggest speed tech in this game that you have control over. Another one is a thing we saw there with the glitchy clock. But that is something we have absolutely no control over. But if we are getting clocked at certain times of a boost cycle, we are getting to maintain a higher speed throughout the clock time. Which makes it that the clocks can actually save us a little bit of time, which is quite interesting. As I said before, a lot of the funny glitches in this game are tied to the clock and how poorly executed that item is. The problem is that the clock puts you on a certain percent of the speed you had when you got clocked. I think it does take into account if you are boosted or not, that there is a parameter for that, but there is no parameter that says you have a reason to be boosted or like decreasing from it. So if you are like decreasing from the speed you had while you were in the speed boost, the game is thinking that your top speed is that speed you are on right now and basically locks you on a certain percentage of that, which can lead to you being locked at a higher than normal speed instead of being forced into running in a slower speed, which is what the clock usually does. There is probably... the only item I would say that is functioning as intended is probably the cones and the shield. The pie is maybe functioning as intended, but it's very, very, very much not a functional item. The problem with the pie is, as you can see, I'm gonna shoot it there, it doesn't bounce off walls, and it goes in a straight line, so it's very hard to actually hit someone with the pie. It's mostly used in a speedrun to basically remove cones that have been put up, which is a very rare use. It's a very, very rare use. And here comes one of the most chill cores of the entire game. On this map we are gonna move around in a little circle here. And going through the circles. We are gonna be boosted for most of the lap unless we get clocked, which we obviously got. And we are basically gonna keep going at a steady turn throughout the entire course. A pretty relaxing course. It looks far scarier on the map than it actually is. And this is one of the more pleasant courses with the boat because it really shows off how good the boat controls could be if the boat courses were adapted to them. Instead of like putting circles on places where you are, boost pad circles on places that you are like not ever gonna be at and stuff like that to tempt you into going for them. With some speed tricks as I described before, it is possible to go for them, but it's very risky and very difficult to do it with any form of consistency.
You see here also that
there we saw the tech I talked about before.
Your world record of 28 minutes 30 seconds can get down. Do you think that, like, you know,
what did you say?
I said like for this category, your world record of 28 minutes 30 seconds, to how much lower do you think that can get down?
Oh,
Do you think like sub 28 be reasonably possible?
In theory, a sub 23 is possible in this game, but that is very theoretical. I don't think it is possible to, like, feasibly possible to go much lower than a 28-30, especially not with the current patch they have released. The only reason why the time is so low is because I got extremely lucky at 2 parts of the course. On this course, for example, I'm running on right now, I got triple boost 6 times because I managed to pull off the duplication glitch 5 times in a row, which is very hard to pull off. It's unbelievably rare to have that happen several times. And in the course, flying course, before it I got 3 triple boosts, I think, at the same course. So I had 2 courses that had unbelievably good RNG, and each of those stages probably saved at least 40 to 50 seconds. It is in theory possible to have that happen on every single course, which could drop the time to unbelievably low numbers. The probability of it happening is so ridiculously low that it's unfeasible. It's unfeasible to believe that it can happen. It is also very reliant on you not getting clocked at certain sections of the run and not getting clocked a lot to get those low times as well. Like, at this point, getting a good time in this game, getting world record is gonna require a huge amount of luck to even have a shot at it in this category. In addition to playing really well.
And like, what is like the history behind the speed community for this game and like the speedrun itself?
Oh, there isn't too much of a history. I think the biggest thing is that I discovered the fact that you could, like, the rules behind why you sometimes get speed boosts in first place, which actually did decrease times in general in this game because people would no longer go for item boxes all the time. Previous runs before I started to run this game always had the runners go for every single item box they could, even if it would lose them time because they thought you could get a triple boost. I did analyze every single run on speedrun.com, and because I was super curious about what made it happen, and then I figured out a couple of things that had to be true to, or a couple of conditions during which it could happen. The first condition is that it is the first item box you pick up during the run. That one can always contain an item, a triple boost, or a rainbow, or a clock. But the clock is very irrelevant for speed tech. It's basically slowing down everyone else, so it's really not helpful. Because there is really not a chance to lose in this game, normally. And then, yeah. And there's really not much to it. And the second condition during which can appear is that your last item box you touched gave you a triple boost, then you can get a triple boost again. I have found that it's very much more likely if you pick up certain item boxes, but that is not confirmed in any possible way, but it seems to be more likely from what I have tried. But the data is very much too little for that, but it's I'm usually still going for the fastest item boxes, which are the ones that have proven the most useful. And then there is, if you are in 4th place or below, you can also get those items. But you are so rarely gonna be in anything but 1st place in this game that is a completely irrelevant factor. That is the big thing that has happened. Before that, it's a racing game. It's like a meme racing game that a lot of runners have run for fun because it's a fun category. I think I am one of few runners that actually sat down and started to tinker too much with this game. Especially with this category, which is very much an RNG fest. Ooh, look, the AI is stuck in the wall there. They are basically crashed into one another, so they are stuck in a little crash there. They are stuck in a deadlock where no one of them can get out because both of them are trying to get forward. And the AI is not really smart enough to recognize that it's a deadlock. I could help them out. I might do so. See here if we can help them out. by hitting one. They can get out if I hit them in certain angles. I don't think I hit the right one, sadly. Yeah, they are still in a deadlock. They're gonna be stuck there forever. Because both of them are trying to go forward. Which means that none of them is gonna go forward. And here we go. This is one of the more scary courses in this game either way, because this section right there, like every single thing in this course, is very, very closely mapped out. And here we come to the second big change in 1.01. The crabs. 1.01 destroyed the crab models in this game to make them look like sports cars. I want to believe that it did so because I used to meme about those being cars. Because they kind of looked like cars before, and they remind me of the cars in the Mario Kart course that goes back and forth in the mall course. I used to call them cars, and now they have broken the sprites to make them look like actual sports cars. So I kinda want to believe they did it on purpose because I said they look like cars, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But I want to believe that is the case. As you can see, they are all hollow, like the entire sprites have become broken. It is a weird patch. It's a very weird patch. They broke more things than they fixed. I have no idea how they managed to do it. Because this game was by no means a complete masterpiece where every single thing was flawless and glitchless. But they still managed to make it even messier than it was before. Which is quite interesting. So here we go. Second lap done. Final lap on the final course. So I think it's pretty safe to get ready for time soon. And there we go, an AI stuck in the wall. That wall is very rare for the AI get stuck in. There we go, Kurumi got out. He got out. Let's continue on. This course has a very weird... This turn here is very scary. We have thankfully gotten it all 3 times because we didn't get clocked. If we get clocked though, the timing for those crabs there are so scary to get through that we are often gonna get squeezed by them, but 3, 2, 1, and time. There we go. And what time did I get?
GG's.
Thanks.
There, I paused it about 1 second late, so it's really a 31:13.
That's very, very good considering I had a game crash.
That was a wonderful run.
Yeah, it was a fun run. It was really, really fun to be here and run for everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed the run. And I do hope that everyone enjoys the rest of the runs this weekend has to offer.
Any shoutouts you want to make?
Oh, I'm very, very poor with shoutouts. Not really, no. I'm so terrified of forgetting everyone, so I'm shoutouting everyone in the community of Hello Kitty Kruisers. Everyone who's ever ran the game gets a shoutout. Because I don't want to forget anyone, so I say it like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well then, thank you so much, Firesplitter, for coming on.
And thank you so much for having me here.
Of course, it's always nice to see these kinds of games here. And with that, stay tuned for our next run, Doraemon 2 Nobita in the Temple of Light by Kefka14. We will have that very shortly. Once again, thank you, Firesplitter, for being here, and stay tuned for the rest of the program, guys.